governance is a reciprocal thing. You know, the residents have to bear some responsibilities in terms of the things that they hold near and dear, and what they say is the reasons that they live in Dixon.
When we had our budget.
Wait a minute. And then the city council also has to, and the city staff also have to be responsible in how they adopt their budgets and what we pay for. So, go ahead.
When we had our budget talks, and I think we asked the question, at least one of us did, about that reduction. Where's that going to come from? How is that going to, can we even do that? Is that something that we're required to do? And you said just a few minutes ago, we're required. But is there a legal requirement that says we have to do street sweeping?
The legal requirement comes in that we have to maintain these storm drains. We have to maintain the sediment that is deposited into our wastewater and our storm drain streams. It does not require us to provide and contract for street sweeping. However, if we don't have a street sweeping contract, we would have to do it some other means. Is there a legal code I can cite to you? No. But there would be a requirement that one way or another we are out there making sure that certain debris got cleaned up and whatnot, and your residents would be at your front door as well.
Yeah. So the reality is that again, these are things we are looking at that we need to continue in some manner, whether it's cutting it in half or whether it's making it go, like you say, back to the same contractor, taking it out of the general fund, finding other funds for it. That, what you're telling us, what you're recommending, basically, is that we continue the service, because that's probably the most cost-efficient way of making sure that the streets are clean, swept, and most of the debris is picked up.
Yeah, I would strongly recommend that you maintain one way or another the current level of service that we enjoy. Lowering that, as I mentioned earlier, will have other cost impacts. So you may save either for the residents or for the general fund, whichever you choose, but there will be other cost impacts by reducing the level of service or even eliminating it.
And if we go with the sanitary service, the levels would stay the same. Would we have the option of saying, can we lower the levels and lower the costs?
Certainly, and that's in your packet. There's two different proposals from Dixon Sanitary Service. The first one is to maintain the current level of service, which is at a proposal of $1.13 additional per month. The reduced level of service goes to monthly for residential, bi-monthly for commercial, and I believe that is at 98 cents. So you save 15 cents.
Again, I want to say that I know we have to do something like this. I know this is something that's reasonable. It's probably prudent and responsible on our part. The problem I have is that $16,577 fee that we get back from them for initiating this. It's somewhat disingenuous to raise people's garbage bill and get back $16,000 that goes somewhere in our funding. And I would recommend that we look at making some kind of exclusion for that at this point, at least now, because of all of the other problems that we're dealing with out there. It seems disingenuous on our part to raise the fee, get money back. That isn't a good motivation for me to do this.
Is there a way to get I know we have Dixon Sanitary people here. Is there a ballpark figure that you could estimate if the franchise fee was plowed back into the actual rate for street sweeping, what that cost would be?
He's already said that was 10 cents.
Just to clarify with council, in the past, when this was included in your franchise agreement, you received that revenue for the total amount.
Yes.
In 2006, when you dropped it out, then your revenue went down as well.
Right.
Okay, so in the past, you did incur franchise fees on their total services. However, going forward, you could, just for this particular service, exclude that from the franchise fee to make this rate increase lower. And the rest would be staying within the franchise, You could do that. That's a policy question for you, and we worked that out with Dixon Sanitary. But just so you know, in the past, you did receive that revenue, and you actually cut revenue as well as added cost to the general fund with that move in 2006. you did like a double whammy, I would say, with that budget change.
Well, it just seems like we're following our tail around and grabbing it. I realize that the reality is that the economy is being what it is, whether it's 10 cents or 13 cents or 5 cents, you know, that matters to people. And, you know, I realize public safety-wise, for the health of the community and for the water supply and all of the good reasons why you street sweep. It's all there. If we had no money to do this at all, period, anywhere, we'd probably go with the alternate thing and then just face the consequences. But I don't think we're there at this point. And I just can't see getting money back for something that we're initiating.
Mayor Batchelor, before you take public comment, I'd like to respond to some of the things that Mr. Fuller, or Vice Mayor Fuller, has brought up. I still am wondering why you're even considering the franchise fee and the contractor, Dixon Sanitary Service, when even at the reduced level of $139,000, it's more than the $125,000 that we could get from the current contractor. If we went with a reduced service level from them, there would be a $60,000 savings alone. That alone would be a much larger reduction in the fee, even if we brought it out of the general fund and put it on the backs of the ratepayers, than you would ever achieve by putting in Dixon Sanitary Service. I think we're sitting up here pointing towards Dixon Sanitary. I don't see anybody here from the current company, and I'm wondering why not. I still have some problem with this. You know, you keep pointing to the thing of, oh, well, you know, when times were good. Yeah, when times were good, we increased salaries and we increased benefits. That's where your problem is, not in $125,000 for street sweeping. And yeah, you can increase this fee and you can put more and more taxes on the backs of people. The state is doing it. They want 1% more of your income. They want to increase the VAF fees and all the rest of it. When does it end? When is enough for the poor taxpayer out there that has to put up with our decisions up here that increases these fees? Yes, it's a small amount, but those small amounts add up over time. Like I say, I think that we need to take some public comment on this and find out how the people feel about it, but I don't see any reason to put this on the backs of ratepayers when we're already collecting $120,000 in franchise fees that are going into the general fund, and it more or less nullifies this amount of expenditure.
And I'm more than happy to take public input. So, but
I
it's
just
important that we have a council discussion on this. And I'll just remind council, let's, you know, keep the issue, or keep discussing the issue. Don't keep repeating what's already been said. Kay, did you have something?
What I'm wondering is if we do take the franchise fee out, can we put a sunset clause in it that, you know, it will be out of the budget for, pick a term, 3 years or something, and at which time it could come back and we would look at it again, or the length of this contract, however long that will be, what is it, 2 years, 3 years, and then that would be a time to look at it again and see if we would then put the franchise fee back on the contract. And I know that one of the things that certainly came up, I mean, I can hear kind of in that other room about the flooding problem on Camellia, Spruce, Cypress, Hillview, that area. If you have reduced service, where you only sweep streets once a month, that is more likely to exacerbate potential flooding problems because those streets will not be cleaned and things that clog drains will be clogging those storm drains. So we need to maintain the level of service that we have for that reason, if nothing else.
Okay.